Hey guys, welcome to the show. Now, I have made some decisions about my career, basically, my music career and how it's going or how it's not going, perhaps I should say. So I've studied the marketing of music for a couple of weeks now. I've researched, I've really looked into things. I've explored all my different platforms that I'm on, particularly things like YouTube and my podcast channels. So the podcasts that do really, really well are my music podcast. Well, my one music podcast. But I'm not allowed to play music on it. So, it's free speak tones, free advice, free how to do this, etc., etc., etc. And you can only do so much for free. Do you know what I mean? You can't sustain a career doing stuff for free. I've got loads and loads and loads of followers and interactions on YouTube across I've got several channels, but they don't generate any income. My music, my official music and musician site, I get money for streaming and it's absolute peanuts. So I was reading an article actually in The Guardian about James Blake, who's decided to do a subscription channel. That wouldn't work for someone like me, I doubt. I don't think it would. I think you need a sort of name to start that off. However, I do have an awful lot of content. And because really I'm much more about audio than music, remembering that I read stories, I'm a narrator, I write stories, I'm on Kindle, I'm on Amazon, and I do all the ringtones, which, they fly out the door when I make them. They really do. I do get ad revenue. But if you think about all that, it's not dependent on a visual experience. It's dependent on an oral experience. So I was sort of, thinking today, how am I going to further my career with that knowledge? Yeah? So it's told me that I'm wasting my time with video. And it's a shame because I quite like video. And I did my degree in film, my master's degree in film and TV. So you'd think that, I'd be good at it. But I don't think it's about being good at it anymore. I think AI's completely taken over visuals now. I don't think there's much room for an artistic visual creator such as myself in the realm of what I produce, If I was an artist of renown, and I was doing exhibitions and stuff like that, maybe. But I can still do that anyway. I can do my own stuff. So I sort of decided that everything's going to come off, all the music's going to come off YouTube at the end of this subscription to TuneCore. So I've been using TuneCore for about 4 years. And it's really weird because the more music I make and the more downloads I get, the less money I make. And that's because of the system of streaming. So there's this big sort of pot which is shared out between creators. And of course that's, there are so many of us and it's not really a viable option for a creator like myself who's pretty experimental, I will say. So I do think it may be worth doing some subscription stuff. So I am going to do that you will be able to access all my material. I mean, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to do it today. I'm not coming off YouTube today. I'm going to stay on YouTube till the end of my subscription, which I don't think is far off. I think it's about 3 months or so. And then you'll just be able to access my stuff either as a subscriber. I'm keeping it low, £10 a month, over at tail-teller.club. And for that you get, I've got so much content, guys. I have hundreds and hundreds of lessons, music, Suzuki piano, Suzuki cello, free ringtones, hundreds and hundreds of free ringtones that I've done. I've been quite successful selling ringtones, but again, I have to do it through TuneCore. So you pay this £40 a year, and I bet that's going to go up next year. I bet it is. And you're lucky if you make that. And I certainly couldn't make it with just ringtones. Even though, you get like £1 a sale or something. So I thought, well, I can easily sell ringtones on my site. So I'm going to sell them. They'll be £1 each. I've got hundreds. And it means I can sing again. I can't sing on the podcast because it's music. I can't play music on the podcast. So, it's difficult. It's been difficult for me to generate any music income through podcasting, using the podcast streamer that I'm using, which is Spreaker. Impossible, really. Remembering also that I'm a storyteller, and all the music that I've made goes with a story. So I was reading yesterday about the rise in experiences revenue. And what that means is people are paying more money and the experience market is set to rise. Now, I was thinking about what an experience involves. Well, it involves something that is a one time. I mean, you can go back and repeat it, but it's a single event that you experience through, whatever. And, there are ways of experiencing events that a musician can employ. Of course, you can do live gigs. I'm not going to do live gigs. I'm far too old to do live gigs. But what I can do are interactive experiences, especially with my book, though all the music goes for the book. So, what I would do is bring together the audio podcast, the reading of the book, which is going to be available on Audible, which you can pay for. But I'll bring that for free for the experience fee, right? So you walk through a door, right, and imagine a virtual door on your computer. Pop your headphones on. You go through the door and you have the story read to you with the music available to you at the press of a button. The backing tracks, the songs, everything. So each chapter of the book, this is the book of immersion, but I'm going to do others. So I'm not stopping at the sci-fi. I think it does really work with sci-fi, though, this multimedia experience. So you get to experience the whole thing, right? And some sort of visuals. Now, the visuals are a difficult thing because do I use AI to create the visuals? Do I use really calm videos? Do I tell the story through the video? I mean, I really don't want to do that because I'm telling the story through the audio. So what would the visual entail? Well, I think the visual would entail the picture book. So I'd have, perhaps for each chapter, I'd have an image, which is what I've done on the graphic novel, more or less. And so you'd see that and you could put it on your TV. So you'd have your audio and you'd have your images and you could flick through them, to the audio or separate from the audio. Do you see what I mean? And all of this would be available. You'd link it up on your smart TV from your phone, essentially. So this is what I'm thinking of. And it would be like £1, £1 or something. And you can also download and keep the song for £1. I just think I keep everything £1, Download the audio book for £1, maybe, if I'm allowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that if it's on Audible, actually. I'll have to check, won't I? It'll also be on iTunes. I mean, I'll think about it. It may be a mistake putting this stuff on Audible. It could be, couldn't it? I don't know, I'll have to see. The royalties rule is proving to be, or the streaming revenue, I should say, is proving to be really poor. But I'm with the PRS. I can, register all of my works with the PRS. And I just think that's probably a better way to go, really. I can still get royalties if anybody uses the songs. I can still get royalties if anybody performs the book. And I think the books lend themselves to performances. I think they're, because they're young adult, because they're multimedia, and because they're quite an extravaganza, I think that really works for production teams, for anyone who's wanting to put on something in a theatre, a multimedia theatre. I think that would be great. So yeah, that's kind of where I've arrived at after some serious thinking and exploring over the last couple of weeks to see where as a professional musician and an advanced musician, I'm not a beginner, trying to navigate an income stream. And of course, the other thing I do are the music therapy recordings. So now if you go to the site, you can sign up for the music therapy as well. So you can have access to everything and all the new stuff. So I'm sort of thinking, well, there's probably no point in putting the new stuff up on, on TuneCore. There's not much point, is there? I mean, I could close it down now and hope, but I may as well. I mean, this is the thing when they get to you, when your subscription lasts for a year, and I've done that on Vimeo as well. It was a big mistake. I mean, just don't do it. Just don't do it. The other thing I can do are, therapy sessions, obviously, and live therapy sessions. So actually sitting down, because I am a qualified therapist, so sitting down but videoing the therapy and having the music play in the background. So that's another way of doing it. So it's using a visual as well as an audio. But the audio is king, as it were, or queen, perhaps I should say. And, that's interactive, but the visual isn't taking over. It's still much, much more about audio, and it's still much, much more about my music. And finally, I'd quite like to do sort of cerebral dance music DJ sessions. I just think that would be really nice. So, I wouldn't be doing house, like thumping trance or, industrial or anything like that. But I could play all my music, and I could play it live, and I could mix it, and I could extend it, and I could have playlists. And I think that would be really, really nice. And people could, either pay for that experience, like £1 for a session, a few sessions, if they're throwing a party, or even if you've got a dinner party, and I can publish these playlists on my website that, are stylistically similar. And I can also do kind of live radio DJ type sets where I'm playing different tracks that I've done. And I think that's going to give me a real impetus to create new stuff as well. I mean, the new stuff I'm going to create is going to be about an hour long. Now, the thing with doing an hour long sessions on YouTube, I'm still only going to get 0.0003p per play, whether it's 3 seconds or I think they pay you after 30 seconds actually, or an hour. So you think, oh, hang on a minute, that's not really making much sense, is it? So theatre, I mean, jazz hands musical theatre almost, but it's musical theatre with a big difference. It's electronic musical theatre, I guess. If I wanted to pigeonhole myself, I guess that's kind of what it would be. Free lessons, free music lessons, free contemporary classes on record production, digital music. That's if you're a learner. But if you want to experience, the wonderful world of electronica that comes out of my head, and is the production of the Tellteller Club band and orchestra, I think that's really exciting. I really do. And as soon as my back's healed, did I tell you how I did it? I can't remember. I was jumping. I was trying to put something up on the ceiling, and I was pinning it, and I needed to get from one end. It was a Sistine Chapel image, and I needed to get from one corner to the other, and I thought it'll be quicker to leap than to get off the piano stool, walk across the room and go to the sofa. So I did this leap, and the piano stool just gave way, and I ended up on the floor. I mean, absolute bloody agony, guys, honestly. And I'm going to have to go and take some pills. But my pills are really nice. I mean, I shouldn't say so, but they are really nice. They make you go a bit gaga. But, you can stand the pain for so long, and then after a bit it's like, no, God, drug me up, please. So there we go. That's all my news, and I'm really, really excited about it all. And I do hope you'll join me at tail-teller.club, which is going to be a theatrical, musical extravaganza of creativity and arts. Woohoo!